Cool.
All right, so welcome everybody to session 0. And this might be a bit of a short session. We'll see how long things go, though. We'll just play it by ear. There has been a bit of a change in plan. Next session is planned to be session 1 after all, because I had originally had this idea of a test adventure, and I realized, well, if we're doing that, we might as well just start the real adventure. So I expect to spend, this will be session 0, and I'll expect to spend roughly half the next session finishing up characters and anything else we need to do before we start, and then we'll have the other half to continue. So that kind of segues in the next piece is, as far as scheduling, last 2 campaigns we did every week, and I do enjoy the weekly cadence, but there are people who have reoccurring scheduling issues, and so I'm thinking this time we'll do a 3 weeks on, 1 week off schedule, and we'll target the 1 week off so that certain members it can align to what their schedule is, so we have overall less people missing sessions. The idea is hopefully people are scheduling their Saturdays with their friends and whatnot when possible on these off weeks, with the next off week coming up on the October 15th. So I wanted to get everybody's opinions on that before deciding to go that way for sure. So what does everybody think?
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
Okay, well that sounds good then. So we'll play the next couple of sessions, and then the 15th will be a week off, and then we'll play 3 more weeks and so on, and we'll readjust the schedule as needed, and I'll post the off weeks in Discord, and if you have you need that a certain specific date, or your work schedule changes, go ahead and let me know, and then we can tweak that. Okay. For the next thing, I kind of wanted to bring everybody's attention to the landing page here. So whenever you guys aren't, whenever in between sessions, the plan is I would bring up this page, and from here you can click on the buttons, and you'll see like the campaign guide. You'll see the group notes. I'm hoping that you guys all have edit capability on the group notes, and given the nature of the campaign, I'm hoping you guys use this to write shared notes, the pantheons, and I plan on adding the session videos to the bottom. But one thing that's kind of interesting is if you click on Stash, which I just did, it brings up a table. And the idea is in these campaigns, you often get these handouts. You might find a medallion that has a weird symbol on it, or you might find weird coins or what have you. And they wind up being handouts that kind of clutter the journals, and it can be hard to keep track of. So my idea here is that I would take the art for those, put them as objects on the table, so you can bring up your stash, and then you click on the objects, and it'll bring up the handout information. So you get kind of a diegetic way of viewing all that kind of stuff. And then you click the arrow, and it goes away. The only word of warning with that is that if you open that, it opens for everybody. It's just the nature of the way the script works. Okay, so that's the landing page. And one thing I will mention is this here, the session notes. If you click on session 0 notes, it should have just popped up. This is kind of what I'm working off of right now. And then, so the other thing we should probably do is go over, some of the campaign and setting stuff, get questions answered, that kind of thing. So I'm assuming everybody has read the concept.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, yeah. So you're fallen gods. You've been working together as a pantheon for probably hundreds of years, so you all know each other well, but you don't necessarily come from the same worlds. You can come from any sort of world in the multiverse, but as you ascended for whatever reason, you became you decided to work together. There's some sort of connecting something that connects you, whether it be the way you think, the way you work together, your ideals, what have you. And whatever that kind of thing is will be up for you to decide. And then the next thing beyond that is there are a number of house rules that will affect the way you make your characters. One of them, of course, is that you'll start at level 5, and the campaign ends once you've reached level 21. And advancement works differently. So every level requires 4 experience points to advance. So if you want to go from level 4 to 5, you spend 4 experience points. And in order to level up, you have to take a long rest, and that long rest has to be uninterrupted. So you could have a situation where if you're out in a dangerous area where you have part of the group resting and leveling, another part having watch, or however you guys want to do that. And you can only do 1 level up per long rest. So if, due to the way the math works out, there might be rare occasions where you can level up, you get 2 levels or something because of you defeat a pantheon, and then you already had 3 experience points from doing other things, for example. So you can only do 1 of those a night. And then so when you create a level, you go up a level, you just subtract 4 from your total. So you should usually only have a couple of experience points on your sheet. And like I said, when you reach level 21, you ascend. And there are only 3 ways of gaining experience points in the campaign. Let me make sure we're all looking at the same thing. I'll show this to you guys. Show players. So you should see it. And you can see the advancement requirements and gaining experience points below that. And so the 3 ways are by defeating a rival pantheon, and you basically defeat them, you absorb their power, and that's worth about 1.5 levels. You can absorb the power of divine artifacts, which you absorb the power into yourself. Let's say you got something equivalent of a wand of fireballs. Well, you absorb that, and now you have the ability to cast fireball. It still has the limits as far as how many times a day or whatever, but it becomes an innate ability. Or you can absorb the power of a weapon and make that weapon a divine weapon to keep, or absorb the power into any resisting weapons, all that kind of stuff. And then finally, there are places in the world that are places of power, and you can absorb some of that energy and gain experience points from doing that. And so you can have places that are both places of power and that house divine artifacts. In fact, if there's a divine artifact in a place, it's probably a place of power. But not all places of power have artifacts. And so defeating a rival pantheon basically means destroying all of their members. So even if one person, one demigod of the pantheon survives, the entire pantheon will come back eventually. So if you're going to fight them, you want to take them all out if at all possible. And then for absorbing the power of artifacts, like I mentioned before, everybody gains the 2 experience points, but the one person who absorbs that power gains that weapon, shield, armor, or they'll gain that power, which they can draw into their weapon, shield, or power, and that it becomes an innate part of them. However, attunement is still in the game. So the way that works is that if you have more than 3 attuned powers, you can, when you take a long rest, you can decide which ones are active, and then the others become inactive. So you could have 6 attuned powers, but you'd only have 3 active at a time. So think of it like preparing spells, except with these powers. And then accumulating, absorbing accumulated energy, that requires an hour ritual, and so basically that at least 3 people in your pantheon are involved in. And obviously, if that gets interrupted, you have to start again. So, you'll need to protect the people going through the ritual, or making sure the place is cleared out, or what have you. Now, as far as optional rules, we do support feats and flanking, and we also support the optional class features in Tasha's Cauldron. So, like all the new ranger abilities, all that stuff, that's all available. As far as death and resurrection goes, because once there are in this world, there are no death saves. Once you reach 0 hit points, you're dead, and that includes for players, NPCs, rival pantheons, monsters, what have you. However, the pantheon lives and grows as a unit, and so if you die, you return to the heavens. And if any members of your pantheon survive, you'll eventually be cast back down again. And how long that takes depends on how many members survive, ranging from 24 to 72 hours. Obviously, if everybody's dead at the same time, that's a TPK and the pantheon gets destroyed. But because of that, resurrection and spells like Revivify, Raise Dead, Reincarnate, Wish, all that stuff, they don't mean anything to you. Well, Wish might, but not for resurrection purposes. But they still exist, and you can still use them on other people. You could resurrect a normal human or a monster or what have you. Spells that prevent death, however, like Death Ward, still work. So that could be very valuable because, it only works once, but, you have 1 hit point and you didn't die, so you can be healed or whatever. And then if you do die and you come back with at least 1 level of exhaustion, or up to 3 if you were already exhausted. So what this prevents is, I have 5 level exhaustion. I'll just jump off a cliff and be healed, that kind of thing. Similar for curses and diseases and that kind of thing. If you were cursed or you had a disease, you come back, you're still cursed and you still have a disease, but the counter on it resets. So if it was like you die in 3 days curse, well, now it gets reset. So you have 3 days to figure it out. So your problems don't go away just because you die. Let's see. And then there's some rules here about resting and exhaustion. You probably want to look through, as demigods, you are still mortal, and you haven't been mortal in a long time. So it's a fresh new experience, sometimes a painful one. And so if you travel through rough terrain, then there's rules here for making con saves. And as you spend more days traveling through this rough terrain, the con save gets worse and worse. If you rest in a place of civilization, of comfort, all your levels of exhaustion go away, and that DC is reset. So if you find an inn or a place to stay at, you can resolve all that. Or if you spend a full day resting in the wilderness, if that isn't possible, you can also reset that. So yeah, there's rules there. You'll probably want to read through them in depth. It even tells you which spells have an effect. And then there are some class features for foraging and that kind of thing. So basically automatic class features that negate rough terrain. They don't actually apply to the whole group, just to yourself. So that's to be important if you want to be a ranger, because that does affect that ability. And any sort of abilities that allow you to automatically forage. Basically, that it works in the sense you don't have to make a roll if you meet the conditions, but it still takes time. So the rules for how long foraging takes and how quickly you move and all that still apply, even if you have those class abilities. The difference is that you're not making those rolls, it's happening automatically. And then finally, if we look down, you can see that there are procedures for things like location calls and adventure sites. That tells you how long the rounds are, or how long the turns are. And then basically, it's a little bit like old school play in the sense that, we basically abstract your actions into these, like 10-minute increments or whatever. And then what that allows us to do is, let's say you cast a ritual spell, it takes 10 minutes, and other people are searching the room, a room in a dungeon or something like that, and then that's a turn, and that allows the monsters to do their thing, random encounters, the environment to basically get its turn. So it's just a way of basically having a system for that. And then if you scroll down further, you can see that there's rules for traveling. We use a 1 mile per hex scale for overland travel, and you have 6 4-hour turns. And then if you read through that, it tells you how far you move and what the turns can be used for, and so on. One interesting thing is there's also a section on sailing. It is possible to get a boat, and there are rules for that as well. Feel free to go ahead and read through that when you get a chance. So that's a lot about custom rules. A lot of it is filling in rules that just didn't exist, by default in 5e or scattered all over the place. There are some changes, such as the way death works and stuff like that, and some other minor changes as well. But does anybody have any comments or questions about that? I'm going to take that as a no. No comments or questions?
Nope.
Cool.
No, but if some come up, well, I'm sure we'll tell you.
Yeah.
And one thing to keep in mind is this campaign guide is accessible from this main screen. It's also accessible, if you look on the side, you'll see something that looks like a book in one of the tabs. If you look down there, you'll see a campaign guide there, and you can take a look there as well. Okay, so the next thing is that if you click on the Getting Started right below that, because this campaign isn't set up to be a linear story-based kind of setup, you get your initial push, you know what your end goal is, but it's up to you as a group how to get there. And what that means is that it might be a little less clear on what to do next, how to going about doing things. So I have this little thing, Getting Started guide, where it tells you in the beginning what things you probably should be doing, like finding a settlement, and acquiring a map of the area, seeking out initial rumors, and so on. It gives you some things to remember. In a lot of linear style games, you can rely on the meta to make sure that whatever you're coming across is something you can handle, or if you can't handle it, it's super well telegraphed. But in this case, because you have more control over where you go and what you do, that may not always be true. So you may run into areas with high-level creatures, or you may run into deadly areas and so on, or run into areas that pose a little challenge. You may also run into areas where there's nothing you can do there yet. You can't get through the door, or you can't get through the cave. Maybe you got to go hire people to excavate it. Maybe you need to find an item or find information and so on. And below that, you have default actions. These are just the things you can do if you don't have any other ideas. So you should read through that. It tells you how to look for rumors. It tells you how to find information while in the city. You have the daily public records and so on. So that would be a good idea. All right, so that's all of that. All right. So the next thing is I did create a character creation document. Unfortunately, Foundry doesn't have a built-in character creator. So we will have to do this a little bit on the manual side. There is some automation though. And as we talked about before, when choosing a race, you basically have all the races and sub-races in the officially published material, except for the automata and similar races like we talked about. But one thing to keep in mind is we're using Tasha's rules, so you can can modify where your score modifiers go. So if you have a race that is normally dexterous, you can move that into strength or intelligence or what have you. So you can move that around. With proficiencies, you can also move it around. In the doc, it tells you which proficiency can go to which other proficiency, like if it's a skill, it can go to any other skill. Armor, it has to go to simple martial weapon or tool, and that kind of thing. But, so you can customize what your proficiencies are. So if you're a big burly fighter that happens to be a tabaxi, you don't have to take stealth as a proficiency. That can go somewhere else. And then the other thing that's interesting is there's a section on backgrounds. You can pick an existing background, but again, you can swap around the skills, the proficiencies, and customize it. But probably the most important thing to you guys is the equipment. You basically start out with almost nothing. Most of the equipment that you get during character creation and the money, unfortunately, it got left behind when you ascend. You do get a divine weapon, and it can be a pair of weapons if that makes sense, like 2 daggers, but usually it'll be a single weapon. And this, if you die, this goes with you. If you lose it within 24 hours, it'll come back to you, and it does scale with level in the sense that it's a +1 weapon to start with, and then at level 10 it becomes a +2, at level 15 it becomes a +3. And with your weapon and armor, you can customize the way it looks based on what you imagine for your god. So maybe you have an axe that turns red as you chop into the enemy, but after a while then it kind of fades, and you kind of get this sense of mourning, like it doesn't get to do that anymore, or what have you. So you can kind of customize it as long as it functionally still makes sense for what it is. And then for your divine equipment, this is the bare minimum you need for your class to work. So if you're a bard, this might be a musical instrument that you use as your focus. And if you're a wizard, this might be a component pouch or a focus, that kind of thing. But you do not get any components that you would need to pay for. So that means there's some spells you may start with and not be able to cast. So you're going to have to go out in the world and figure out how to get those components, to cast, find familiar, or what have you. And then, of course, you have basic clothes because we want to, keep this stuff sane. All right. So now that we've gone through that, you can see the create character document. So now it's time for you guys to talk, because you guys are a pantheon. You worked together for hundreds of years. There's something that draws you together. So do you want different members of your group to focus on specific roles? Do certain players want to fill specific niches? Does your pantheon have an overall theme, or is it more chaotic and varied? And finally, what is your pantheon called? So that's for you. So this is for you guys to kind of brainstorm and figure out what kind of characters you want to play and all that kind of stuff. So go ahead.
Maybe it'll help to understand the background of various characters if anybody's got anything in mind there. I know I've already kind of got myself set on an Echo Knight fighter, and I guess for some history on my characters, what I was kind of looking into is so back in the campaign in the 90s, I'd had a character named Psychonin, and one of the things that character ended up doing was creating a clone of himself. And originally the idea was he was just an extra body just in case he needed to possess something else, but that character ended up continuing to exist, and I decided to make the character actually breathe some life into what was otherwise a no-name character. But so the idea being is that while the main group, Psychonin, and the rest of the group would go off on adventures, this particular clone character would actually stay behind and just kind of keep an eye on things while they were gone. So he's kind of a steward of the land. Well, the problem is, one day the party went off on a quest and never returned. And as he was, getting old, the problem was that Syconen's kids weren't interested in rulership, and there was no clear line of succession. So he decided, well, maybe I'd better figure out a way to extend my time. So he went and sought immortality, which worked, and managed to ascend to godhood. Unfortunately, he got in over his head, I guess like the whole rest of the group, and eventually ended up getting cast down. But that's basically where, this character comes from. He was just looking for a way to be able to watch over the people he was, ordered to protect, and this is where he ended up.
Cool. Well, I was considering making. Sorry.
Go ahead, Brosnan.
Is that?
Sorry, I just wanted to say I was considering making a wild magic sorcerer.
Well, that won't be unpredictable at all. That's actually, that almost sounds like it'd be right up Shane's alley.
That's true.
I had like a very loose character concept so far. I was mostly more thinking about the big picture. I was maybe making a fighter, but maybe not. Because Dave's making a fighter, but we'll see. But I was, I didn't want to step on anyone's toes. I don't want to make the party too split. So if anyone is averse to warmongering, then speak now or forever hold your truth. Because nobody.
Warmongering?
Yeah. If I made a character that really likes killing other pantheons.
You made a character that really liked what?
Like destroying other pantheons, yeah.
Yeah, this is something that you guys will have to kind of decide as a group, because
Right, that's why I'm saying if anyone has if anyone's against that, then I can change lanes,
Right. So it'll be up to you guys to decide. Are you going to focus on mostly killing pantheons, or are you going to focus on exploration and uncovering the secrets of the world and attempting to gain power and ascend mostly that way, or something in between?
Right.
And pretty much the definition of a pantheon is running the gambit, so we can have both pacifists and ultra aggressors in the same.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like to just suit multiple characters and just their own ways of doing things. Because I'm sorry, but not everybody can be the god of war.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I feel like a healthy balance would be some warrior types and some more maybe less aggressive gods. So we're not just constantly just picking fights with everybody.
And one situation you can have is you can have somebody in the party who really wants to go do this thing, and then other people in the party are like, no, let's go do this other thing. And, so just because you want to go kill the pantheons and do nothing but that doesn't mean that the rest of the group's going to let you do that.
Right, right. Alright.
Yeah, I have no problem with that.
Well, I was thinking fighter or barbarian or maybe ranger, but I'm not set on anything yet. I'm still thinking about it.
So as you guys continue your discussion, ultimately what we're going to want out of session 0 is we're going to want everybody to have decided on a class, a subclass, a race, and any unusual feats, feats that aren't in the player's handbook. Same with backgrounds, anything that's not in the player's handbook. And the reason for this is so that I can add these things to Foundry, since it only has the SRD content, for next session. So as you guys discuss, also think about fine-tuning your concepts from several ideas to distilling it down. All right, go ahead.
Well, granted, I've had this one figured out for a while now, but yeah, basically I've got to reskin Tabaxi, which will be called a Felliver for nostalgia's sake.
I'm gonna be. I'm thinking about a Goliath blade singer. So if we got fighters, we'll have mages in the party as well.
I was thinking, Satyr Bard.
Ooh.
Ooh, I mean,
Yeah, she's gonna be basically like the goddess of art, music, and revelry.
every good pantheon needs that. Yeah, we're all kind
Exactly.
of
She's the artsy fartsy person, but add party to it because satyr.
Exactly.
Is there a specific subclass you're looking at, or you not know yet?
I'm not sure yet. Either a bard of lore or something, like some classic bard, because a lot of the other ones are very, do you want to be diplomatic? Do you want to be glamorous? Or do you want to be kind of sneaky deaky? And I'm sitting here like, I want to be able to fight people, so we're gonna go out like lore, that other shit.
Fair enough.
Like, I like the newer ones. They have their place, but a lot of them feel very, if you're not gonna be an RP heavy thing, you might not have a lot to do whenever, shit hits the fan.
Yeah. I
don't want to sit here and buff you guys the whole time. I'm sorry. I want to slap things too.
I agree.
Fair enough. Brazin, you were going to say something?
I was just agreeing. Yeah, I'm pretty set on the wild magic sorcerer though. That sounds like fun.
Wild magic sorcerer? Sure. Do you have any idea what kind of race you're going to be?
I'm thinking a lizard folk.
Lizard folk. Okay, cool.
Another Sudaga.
I like reptiles.
Yeah, not a problem there.
I'll just start calling it a Lizra.
A what now?
A Lizra. Back in Jeremy's original campaign, there were lizard people, but yeah, they were called Lizra.
You can stick with the original name.
I kind of wanted to be a lizard wizard, but I decided
When I say a lizard wizard, you mean a lizard that casts spells, not like a wizard that casts lizard spells, right?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I wanted to name my character Gizzard, which I might still, but we'll see.
So I have you down as a a wild magic sorcerer so far.
Yeah.
So Shane, what are you thinking about?
I was thinking a fighter or a barbarian, and for race, either dragonborn, but I'm leaning more towards minotaur. I just found out that minotaur is a race, and I'm like, that's cool as fuck. I don't want to do that. But,
Yay, Greek and Roman influence.
All right, cool. So if you look at your character sheets, you should be able to hit C and bring up your sheet. Anyway, if you look at your character sheet and you look at the biography section, which is the final tab, you should see a bunch of stuff that I put in there, which obviously you can get rid of. So yeah, if you look at biography and you'll see things like, okay, here's the stuff to figure out by the end of session 0. So this is the kind of stuff you guys are working to figure out. And then there'll be some other stuff to figure out by session 1, but we'll talk about that once you guys are happy with your Pantheon idea.
you should press C. I'm not having anything happen.
That's weird. If you double click on the Shane icon, if you hover over it, you should see where it says Shane, the one in armor. If you double click on that, does anything happen?
Yeah, but now C is working. All right.
Okay.
It seems to have fixed it.
All right. So what are you guys thinking as far as the Pantheon theme, or is it just going to be kind of a chaotic group of people working together for some reason? Why are you guys a Pantheon?
I feel like didn't Joel have a pretty interesting idea? I'm trying to remember exactly what it was, but he had a interesting theme he wanted to go for.
Well,
Does anyone remember? I was there when he talked about it.
Details, unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't remember very well.
Yeah, I'm not sure the theme. I think it was like Mesoamerican or something like that.
Oh,
But I'm not
exactly.
sure
I
that
was
would,
like,
would really work, given given Cyclonin and Tyler's characters.
That's fair. What class is
Also-
Tyler going to be again?
You guys haven't actually given a type of god y'all want to be yet. You more or less just like, I'm thinking this race and I'm thinking this type of class.
That's true.
So
yeah, okay. I
think about
kind of
what kind of god you are first before we think of what pantheon we're gonna be.
That's true.
right.
Fair
I
enough.
outlined it a little bit. I kind of hinted that I want to be a warmonger, so I'd say probably like war with a subset being like politics slash I don't know the word, that kind of thing, like yeah, politics, backstabbing, trickery.
Okay.
Well, my
Yeah.
Goliath Bladesinger, he was actually going to be very lawful. His name was going to be Judge, so I guess he would be I guess he would be like a more lawful and order type god, and that's kind of a neat dichotomy with a wild mage who's more chaos.
Yeah, god of law and order and justice.
I'm going to be the god of chaos then.
See, and a pantheon runs the gambit, so we have, things on every side. We have a war god. You were talking about more like a muse.
Yeah, basically she would be the god of the arts. So music, art,
So we
song
have,
and dance and revelry. So yeah, basically she's the muse.
Okay, see, so we've got war, chaos, law and order, muse.
In my case, I was looking at, got kind of a couple of things going. I mean, as far as the straightforward philosophy, there's kind of a protector sort of thing, kind of just looking over people in general.
There is a big thing about gods of travel, protection, and heroics. The god who, travelers and adventurers, right? Too. That type of thing.
Sorry, say that again?
There are there are protector gods of like travelers, and the god of travel and adventure, and the god of protection for travelers and adventurers.
Well, this would be kind of from a bit of an opposite direction. This is more like, defending a homestead or something, keeping people safe from the chaos from outside.
Okay, kind of like a sanctuary type of god.
Something to that effect. In some ways, almost like a shepherd, just tending to a group.
Okay,
Go ahead.
I was just saying that I like that idea. Tyler was saying something. What are you saying, Tyler?
I was having a hard time with my train of thought, but I was just saying that, there are gods of, I can't think of any names off the top of my head. I had them in my head a second ago. are, like protector gods, and gods that protect, like Saint John is the patron saint of children. There'd be a protector god for children, and they have a bunch of different things like that. So if Dave was thinking of like homesteading, it'd be a god of sanctuary, a god of protection or defense of towns and towns and cities, places where people live, homestead. The god of defense and warding.
Here we go.
Sorry guys, I'm having kind of a bad day today. That's why my brain's not working right.
You're good.
Yep, it's fine. All right, so you guys have some ideas. So, do you guys have a good sense of what you want the final theme to be, and what each of the gods, each of you individually, what kind of gods you're going to be?
Well, I don't know about a final theme. That's still very, ubiquitous. But I had an idea of a name after listening to everybody else's characters. We are a menagerie.
I kind of like that.
Yeah.
The menagerie pantheon.
As a I don't know if that's any good, but a pantheon name, because we've got satyrs and cats and bulls and lizards and just all different races. It's a menagerie.
All right. What does everybody else think?
Yeah,
I think we probably still need to figure out more of the fundamentals as to sort of what brought us together. I think it is pretty clear based on the different philosophies that there's definitely some diversity there. I mean, I see two of the concepts definitely sort of focus on unpredictability. We've also kind of got the whole, seeking out violence versus kind of protecting from it. As far as a different access, I mean, yeah, basically just, the whole order versus basically total disorder, chaos, if you will. So there's definitely, if nothing else, I think we are definitely a party of many extremes.
a mixed bag for sure.
Which is a pantheon. I mean, every pantheon has opposing forces, but it doesn't mean they don't work together.
Right.
So yeah, one thing is you've obviously most of you would probably come from different worlds, although two of you come from the same world. So what is it about each other that made you want to work together to basically become a pantheon of gods that would rule over some world and try to to help or hinder the people as you see fit, but go through and have all that responsibility?
Yeah, it definitely gets is a tricky one there. I know that at least as far as my background, it kind of left it open to where, either my character could have been talked into a pantheon, or could alternately be the one to have tried to work on putting the team together. Either way works for me. But potentially I could see where maybe one or more people had some sort of ambitions and talked other people into it. I mean, in my case, it wasn't so much that my character was seeking out godhood specifically, but more immortality, and ended up managing to achieve godhood in that process. And then it turned out like, oh crap, this was maybe not the best way to become immortal. Ended up getting cast down. So some of that might be interesting, is what motivated the other characters to become gods in the first place.
I'd have imagined myself to be a last-minute add-on to the party because of Judge's background. I'm imagining he just kind of fell and got up. The rest of the guys were already pretty well set. And that was just like a last-minute, holy smokes, I know you type of thing.
Well, one way to think about it is that you can essentially have two backgrounds. You have what you were as a mortal, whatever it is that made you ascend to begin with. And then you have your time together, or at least mostly together, as a pantheon of gods. And a similar vein, and we'll get to this later, but you have your demigod form, which will be, your Goliath or your Dragonborn or what have you, and then all gods and demigods included have the ability to walk amongst humans in the shape of a human. So you're basically also going to have your human form, which will be, where you look like an ordinary human. Your armor and your clothing, kind of morphs down so that it looks more like something a human could wear, etc. So in the same way that you kind of have this dual background, you'll have this dual life in here as well. So it might be helpful to kind of think about what you were before you were gods, why you ascended, and then you can think about, after that, why you guys got together.
Right. I feel like my character was just, she devoted herself to, she was just a bard that devoted herself to learning all the forms of art and expression.
Okay.
And I guess just through that pure devotion to that, she was able to kind of just devote her whole life to it and just ascended that way.
Yeah, the elder gods saw your devotion to those arts and wanted you to become a god so that you can spread that knowledge and that passion throughout the multiverse.
Yeah.
Okay.
It does bring up a question. Is there a specific way that people ascend, or is there kind of...
Yeah, I was gonna ask the same thing.
Yeah. The basic way that people ascend is by the elder gods. They basically they can see individuals, or if individuals do certain things, then they can decide to bring them in. Because basically the way it works is you have your elder gods, which are relatively few in number, and you have a whole multiverse. So obviously they can't manage themselves. So they basically bring forth gods, and they'll have one or more pantheons that get assigned to each world. And so you kind of have this hierarchy there. And but I also imagine there are probably alternate ways to ascend. Like if you somehow manage to kill a god, or you manage to kill some other ancient being, or somehow amass so much power that you have the power of the god, and so they have no choice but to bring you among their ranks, because otherwise you might become an enemy. So either way works. It depends on what you're thinking of for your character.
Yeah, I guess we know how the warmonger got there.
Yeah, I was going to say the Judge was a rather violent beginning as well. I believe you already have his preliminary background.
Yeah, Judge would be kind of an example, from what I understand, of basically, you defeat this powerful being, and you become that being. You take its place. So they have no choice but to pull you in. So that's kind of the ascension by force route.
Yeah. Just for everybody's edification, my character is along the same vein as Dave's, because back in the 90s when we were talking about that original campaign, we had kind of amassed a large amount of power and a whole group of followers, and back then we kind of treated those followers as just chess pieces on the field, and so this was kind of a chance to explore what happened to them. And in my case, my character also created a clone, just like David's original character created a clone. The only difference is we went to go fight the Chaos Dragon, which is the god of chaos, and whoever got the killing blow for the god of chaos became an NPC and took over that spot. Well, my character wasn't done gaming yet, and I didn't want to become an NPC, so I switched my final blow with my clone's final blow, and so my clone became the god of chaos for a while, and then was thrown down. So he was always kind of nameless or faceless. He was like just another pawn on the board. So ever since he was created, he was just mindlessly obeying. And then when he became the god of chaos, he lost that aspect of control from his creator. Then he was thrown against his own will. And then when he was thrust down from the god of chaos, again he had lost what he had to be, which was being forced into being a god of chaos, which he did. That was against his will as well. So right now, this is the first time he actually has his own free will and can make his own decisions. Until this point, his entire existence has been a slave to the influence of others.
One question I also have as far as the ascending thing goes is that is there anything that would stop people from ascending as a group? I mean, certainly the premise for the campaign requires it, but as far as initially becoming demigods or whatever, the gods work solely on an individual basis, or would they find themselves favoring a group that's devoted to any particular cause?
I might imagine that would be a case-by-case thing. I don't see any reason why a group of particularly motivated, or lucky individuals couldn't ascend all at once. Although I imagine that's probably uncommon, so it probably happens, but not very often.
Part of the reason why I asked that is one possibility that's crossing my head is that, so like I said, in my case, my character would have very specifically been seeking out immortality, not necessarily godhood, but some sort of way of, getting rid of the upper end of his lifespan. So I imagine he probably would have done a fair bit of journeying for that. And I'm wondering what the odds are like, well, especially for the two more chaotic people in the group, if it's the sort of thing where, here it is, he's seeing these chaotic forces, but yet that somehow have these positive connotations about them, or at least not outright harmful, which would kind of run counter to what his own patron, had been saying, because, of course, the original characters had been fighting pretty hard against chaos specifically. But in this case, it may be one of those, well, no, there's room for this stuff to thrive. And, maybe, sort of help push chaos in a more positive direction and essentially like team up. And it's like, well, if we can all get to this ascended point, then we have more control over the world and kind of allow this. It's kind of almost a sort of balance, but that would overall make the world a better place. Just kind of harnessing things less destructively, so to speak.
So is the idea that you're proposing that everybody would have originally been from the same world and you managed to group them up? Or is the idea that you've already ascended and you're looking through other worlds and helping other people ascend, that you feel fit this role?
I was thinking of it more in terms of not necessarily everybody came from the same world, but just kind of like the way the original adventures didn't necessarily stay in the same world. I could see my character having done some world hopping, trying to find, answers and maybe some like-minded individuals. And then, but alternately, maybe having ascended individually, but kind of try to talk people into, maybe like, hey, your viewpoints could be good for, trying to improve the world that I came from, sort of thing. I mean, so I could see it could go either way. But yeah, they wouldn't necessarily have to come from the same world if they didn't want to be.
So what's everybody else's take on those two ideas?
Well, I don't dislike the idea of having us all from the same world.
Yeah, I think that could be interesting.
Yeah.
Especially, I mean, I think it works with Dave's backstory of
Yeah.
being like a traveler, and as he's going through the lands, he's seeing all these different things happening, and then he ascends, and he's like, "Oh, I've seen these people before. I remember you guys."
For sure.
All right. Any other opinions, Tyler, Natalie?
So, okay. My thing is, okay, so if we're all from the same world, but then we got smacked down to, being mortals, or demigods, my question is in the world that we currently occupy, is there more than just humans? Like, are there elves here? Are there other races besides humans here?
In this world. So just to be clear, the world you're being sent to is not the world that you're from. So this will be a brand new world for everybody here.
Okay.
So the next thing is that this world is basically the non-monster races, as far as everybody knows, is humans. There are other races, but they tend to be pushed away from civilized areas, on the fringes. Think of the mythological versions of the races. So yeah, there are other humanoids that exist, but they basically don't intermingle directly with the humans, or when they do, it's more in a what you might see in mythological stories.
So mainly a human population of civilization.
Yeah. So if you're dealing with civilized areas, at least initially, as far as you know, you'll be dealing with non-magical humans. And that's part of the reason why you can you can change into a human and walk amongst them as humans, because anything that's not human is going to be, they're going to treat as dangerous, or even humans that have the rare humans that do have other powers like oracles and whatnot are pushed to the fringes of society, even if they're important to society, but they're kind of thought of as something other, no longer human.
Okay, so non-humans are considered bad?
Yeah, bad or scary, or and there might be cases where you might have legendary creatures or things like that that they know are placed by the gods, and so they're respected and everything, but they're also feared. There's something that they don't want to deal with all the time. So they're not all bad, I guess. But they're definitely there's a note of fear in there, a note of otherness in there.
Right. So
Okay.
the world we're coming into is very much a Greek or Roman style world where the humans are just humans, and you have things out there like the Medusa or the Cyclops, but they're definitely separated and held out.
So anyway, hopefully that answers your question. So given that, what are your thoughts on Dave's ideas?
I don't mind our characters at least being either from the same world, because that would just honestly, that would make things simpler for our characters seeing each other and not being weirded out, like, oh, lizard man, oh, goat lady, cat person. You know, if we're like, yeah, we've seen that before, that's nothing. So I feel like that would help definitely with our characters being okay with each other's existence, because it's like, I know what that is.
That's fair.
Because I don't know about you, but if I saw a giant talking lizard person, I wouldn't want to get near it. I'm like, the fuck is that? I don't know you.
I guess you're not going to watch Lyle Crocodile then?
I've never even saw what it was based off of, or read it, or whatever it's from.
But yeah, actually, that's a good way of putting it, though, because you know, you could imagine that. Let's say that these mythological things, you know, satyrs and talking lizards and all that, they showed up in real life. How would you react? And that's kind of similar to the way the people of the world react. I mean, not quite as bad because they've seen these things before. They know they exist. But it's kind of like our own ancients, you know, where they thought these things existed. And that, you know, some of them, you know, could swear, you know, that's, you know, those things. Well, I've seen those things before, but it still freaks them out. You know, it would still freak them out even with that.
Well, the world that Cyclonen would have come from definitely did have a lot of diversity as far as the races, and for that matter, so did any of the other worlds that were known to them at the time. So, so yeah, there definitely wouldn't be any problems fitting in like that. Strong opinions about what the world might have been like from where they came from, or does it just matter that that particular race was there?
No, yeah, I think my character's backstory would be pretty isolated to his own sector of the world. I don't think it gets too much farther out, so.
Alright.
If we want, we could keep it simple, and they literally are from generic D&D land where we know all these races exist, whether they have their own kingdoms or sections of the world they inhabit.
Yeah. That's
Well, for what it's worth, Cyclonen definitely would have had seen some value in a warmonger.
I don't know how, but I lost the character creation guide. I can't find it somehow, even though I saw it like 2 seconds ago.
Okay, yeah, so
Yeah, I don't know how to do
on the right,
crap
there's
either.
a set of tabs, and one of them looks like a book that's open. And if you click on that, you should see a blue folder that says General. And if you
Oh.
hit that, you'll see character creation, create characters, the second thing.
Thank you. Okay, cool.
All right, so it sounds like you guys are leaning toward you all come from the same world, and that Cyclonen kind of sought you out. You know, as he was traveling, he sought you out to kind of, you know, because he wanted to become immortal, and you know, he sought other people, like-minded people out to help him out. Is that what I'm gathering?
Yeah.
Oh, great. So now this whole disaster is my fault.
Yeah, in fact, I just worked you into my backstory, so I think it fits pretty well.
All right.
I've got a rough backstory, man.
All right, cool. So, when this is probably a good time to talk about it. So, we're talking about backstories. So, I already talked about the background. So, you know, you're thinking about, you know, using an existing background and then tweaking it, you know, switching out skills and languages and all that, or coming up with a new background. And there's rules for that in the create character thing. If you have custom features, though, you'll have to run them by me ahead of time. So obviously that should be done before next session. Anyway, one of the things that often come up in backgrounds, though, is, oh, you're from a noble house, so you know such and such, or oh, you served in the military, so you have this. So one of the issues is that this is a new world you've never been to. So, yeah, you might have had those contacts in your original world. So that's something to keep in mind. And similarly, things like regional lore and stuff like that, obviously you don't have that in a new world. But skills like history and such, even though they don't give you anything automatically, what they do mean that you are skilled in learning those things. So they'll help you in your research, they'll help you recall things that you have learned so far, and that kind of thing. So you kind of have to think of some of the skills a little differently. Because this is a new world, you're going to have very little, and you're going to have to find your own way and learn and everything as you go. So hopefully that all makes sense.
The race I want isn't something I can click and drag, so
it isn't. This is why I don't expect the characters to be all done today, because a lot of the features aren't there. The Foundry only comes with the SRD, so that's why today what we're trying to figure out is all the things I need to add to Foundry, which is why I mentioned, I need to know your race, your sub-race, your class, any feats that you think you're going to get by level 5, that kind of stuff, so that I can add them so that you can finish up your character at the beginning of next session. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So the next thing I should probably mention is that, as I mentioned earlier, one of the primary ways that you gain experience points is by finding divine artifacts and absorbing their power. We went through some examples earlier, but one of the things I wanted to do is make sure that these are things that you want to seek out, that have value to you. So what I would like everybody to do, before next session, is to kind of come up with 3 to 4 magic item ideas. So these are things like magic items or powers or weapon and armor features that they would like to be able to find, they quest for or learn about, and that kind of thing. And then basically what I'm going to do is take those lists and contextualize them in the world and figure out, okay, what are these divine artifacts, and then kind of make them from those lists. So hopefully everybody can come up with 3 to 4 things. Obviously, you may not get exactly what you asked for. It may not be in the same form. It'll have to be contextualized and everything. So it may be tweaked and whatnot, but at least it'll allow me to put stuff in the world that your characters actually care about. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So the next thing is, I know that some of you want to roll for stats. So basically, there are 3 ways you're going to generate your ability scores when you get there. There's the standard array, which you probably all know about. There's the point buy system, and this is in the create a character document. And then finally, there's rolling. And with rolling, you basically it's 4d6 where you take the highest 3, and any roll where you sum up the values, if it's less than 70 or the bonus is less than +4, gets discarded, and you have 2 good rolls that you can make and then choose from. And I have actually a script so that at the bottom of that page in Create Character, you can hit that button to make the rolls, and it'll do it in a nice little tidy thing. And so the idea is, now that you have some idea what kind of characters you want to make, we'll go through anybody who wants to make the rolls today. You can also make them next week if you want. And we'll just go one at a time. So is there anybody who wants to roll for their character stats?
I guess I'll be the demonstration example here.
All right. So are you able to see the stat rolls button on the document? I should probably show this to players.
Yeah, I've got the cursor hovering over it.
All right. Well, in that case, we'll start with you then. Go ahead and hit the button.
All right, here's the first roll attempt.
All right. So that's a green roll. So that's an accepted roll. So he can he can roll another attempt.
Okay, here comes the second roll.
And that one is also an accepted roll. So now he has 2 good rolls that he can choose from, and it is now up to you to choose between them.
Yeah, I guess it'll take me some time to think about that one.
All right. So as Dave thinks about which set of rolls to take, is there anybody else who wants to roll for stats?
So are these do these numbers go to like the top one always strength, the second one always?
No. These are just the rolls. You can
And
assign
you can
them
pick
to
which
whatever attribute you want.
Okay. I understand.
And in general, the rolls will usually be better than the standard array, but that's not guaranteed. It can also be worse.
Right.
The good news is that if your rolls are too low, if it's less than 70, the sum is less than 70, or the total sum of the bonuses is less than 4, it gets discarded and you don't have to count it. So that's good, and you have 2 good rolls that you can pick from. So the odds are decent that you'll get good stats.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think it would go against my character if I didn't roll for my stats.
All right, Brosnan, you're up there.
Although I guess I'm being an idiot in the sense that it's very obvious that it's the first set of rolls because there's actually nothing better in the second thing.
Yeah.
All right. So, Brosnan, your first set of rolls is accepted, so you get 1 more set, and that's thread.
Oh,
Wow.
All right. We know what you're taking.
Wow.
Wow.
So I can put these stats into any
order.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. So you can go ahead and go to your character sheet, and you can go ahead and put them in now. These won't count your racial bonuses. It won't count the feat or attribute increase you can take that you normally take at level 4 if you're not multiclassing. So these are just the raw base stats.
Gotcha.
All right. Well, I guess I'll roll. If I get to choose them, I think it's worth it.
All right.
Brosnan's made me.
Fair enough.
I click the stat roll button, right?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
So the first one, that's a failure. So that's too
That
low.
doesn't count?
You see how
Okay.
you see how some is at the bottom is red.
Right.
So you can ignore that one. So go ahead and roll again. Okay, that's accepted.
Oh.
That one we can ignore.
Okay.
And that's
All right.
accepted. So you
Oh my
have
God,
the
today.
2 green ones are the 72s.
Cool.
So which of those are you going to take?
Oh.
How did we already roll 3 72s?
Don't know.
You can see all the numbers there. It's just a dice roller. So Shane, one thing I would recommend personally is you take the second 72 because the one above that has a 7 in a stat, which
Right.
is pretty low. And that second 72, while most of the stats are middling, it does have a 17 in there. So that's my recommendation, but you can pick either one.
I'll pick the second one, I think.
All right. So go ahead and enter in those stats. Anybody else want to roll?
I'll try. If it's all poop, then, keep going.
Sure. Yeah, go ahead. Do you know where the button is? So if you go to the create character document and then click on ability scores page, and it's at near the bottom.
Yeah, it says rolling and all that.
Yeah, it should just say stat rolls, and it should be a button. Oh, there you go. Okay, you got some good rolls there. Pretty awesome rolls, I would say. So you're going to take the top or bottom one?
Probably the bottom one.
Okay. Fair enough. Those are some pretty awesome stats.
All right.
So how do I pull them over, or do I just drag and drop? Or?
No, you just hit C on or open up your character sheet by double-clicking on your token, which is the one that looks closest to a satyr, and then you'll see your stats on the left side. Just go ahead and just manually enter in whichever order you want. It doesn't have to be in that order. You can reorder however you want.
Okay.
Okay, and how do I roll again? I just push on
So
the
if you
roll.
open up the create a character page,
Yeah. I'm
and
already-
then you go to ability scores and scroll to the bottom, there's a button that says stat rolls.
Oh, okay, I found it. Sorry.
Yep, no problem.
All right.
All right, Tyler, that's a decent roll so far. That's accepted. Okay, go ahead and make another. Oh, you did it. All right, that looks like a failure. So go ahead and roll again. And
Oh my
that's accepted.
god!
Ooh,
I'm guessing
love
you're
it.
taking that one.
I think I am.
Wow.
All right. Lucky.
Nice.
That one is pretty good. 2 18s and a 17. It's hard to beat that.
God damn!
And then if anybody's curious, the sum and the is the sum total of all the values, and in parentheses is the sum of the bonuses. So statistically, the rolls that have higher numbers like that are generally better rolls, although you can get corner cases there.
Although in both cases they're the sums of values, the difference is the first value is the sum of the attributes.
Yeah, but because the bonuses are quantized, it's kind of hard to tell, and it doesn't count the minuses and pluses, so it's a nice way to visualize that. Anyway, is that everybody?
I think so.
All right. Well, I wasn't expecting everybody to roll, but actually that's kind of cool. Next session, hopefully we can get Joel to roll as well.
Yeah.
He probably will. If I had to guess.
All right.
Aww.
So I do have a suggestion, and so one of the things we go through, I kind of want to go through some of the Foundry features. One of the features you can do is if you hold the left mouse button, you'll notice that it generates a ping, and that ping is colored based on your character, or based on your user settings. So what I would suggest is Grin, Shane, and Tyler decide who's going to change your colors so that we can more easily tell you apart.
I can change
color
mine.
How do I change my color?
So if you look on the bottom left where players are, if you see where Tyler is, just right-click on it, and then pick user configuration.
I think I want to go for a deeper red, anyways. Oh, did I not save it?
Yeah, you usually have to save on these dialogues.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay. So yeah, if you hold left button, you'll ping. If you hold sorry. Is it control? No. Yeah, if you hold Alt and you ping, you'll do a chevron. You know, this is the emergency kind of situation.
Uh-oh. I almost made a line or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I accidentally placed some stuff earlier. I couldn't figure out how to delete it.
Oh, it's okay. I took care of that. In a second, we'll go to a test map so you guys can test running around and moving and all that kind of stuff. Tyler, are you still changing your color?
Hold on. I think we got it here.
There you go. Cool.
Oh yeah, they still have that feature that Roll20 has where you can go ahead and double click the bar for a window to minimize it.
Yep, it does.
All right.
Oh yeah, that's
Am
right.
I
I've seen it
pinging?
before.
Can everybody see anything?
Okay, you guys see nothing. I see that.
It's an ocean.
Map.
Yeah, let me go ahead and figure out what's wrong with the map. I was gonna send you to the test map, but something is going on.
Just out of curiosity, can
I see a
anybody see me
map.
pinging?
Do it again.
I also see a map.
I don't see
They're
anything,
on
Tyler.
Yeah, I see like a beach and the.
Oh, I don't. I see ocean. Deep blue sea.
Go ahead and push the tab button. The tab button should center on your character.
Yep, it's
Let
I'm
me
invisible.
make sure your token has vision. It does not. Okay. What about now? Can you see?
Yeah.
Anybody else having trouble seeing?
Nope. This map is cool looking.
So yeah, this is just a test map I threw together when I was kind of deciding on what the art style was going to be for the campaign. Um, and so you can use the arrow keys or WASD to move your character. You can drag and move your character. Another option is if you have your token selected and you hold control and then you'll drag a ruler. And then if you
Oh.
click, you'll set a waypoint. And then once you set all your waypoints, you can hit space and your character will walk it. So that's one way to measure. The reason why this might be useful is that on the square grids we use the 5-10-5 rule for diagonals, meaning the first diagonal costs 5, the second diagonal costs 10, and then 5, and then 10. By using the ruler, you don't have to think about it. It just it just works. So hold control when you and drag. Hold control. There you go.
Aha.
Okay, so the next thing I'd kind of like you guys to do, if you can, is on the right side of the tabs, you should see something that looks like a gear, 2 gears. If you click on that, there should be something called Configure Settings. Do you guys see that?
Yes.
Go ahead and click on that, and it should bring up a bunch of settings. Most of them you can ignore, but go ahead and click on Dice So Nice. It's like 2, 3, 4, fifth one down, and then click on My Dice Settings. And what this will allow you guys to do is set up custom dice colors and looks so that everybody's dice looks a little different. So everybody can go ahead and play with the different settings, different textures, materials, and customize your dice.
I'm having trouble finding that. Where is it again?
Okay, so on the right side of the screen, you see a bunch of tabs. And at the very far right, there's a tab that looks like 2 gears. You click on that. And then on there, you'll see a bunch of different buttons. And one of the buttons is Configure Settings. Do you see that, Tyler?
Oh, okay. Now I found it.
Yeah, then on Configure Settings, it's Dice So Nice, which you'll see on the left side. And then you'll see My Dice Settings. You're clicking on My Dice Settings. Did you find it?
Okay, now I found it.
So yeah, you can see there's my color. And so ideally everybody's dice looks a little different, so it's just for a fun little thing so that when people make rolls, you can tell who's making the roll.
Cool.
All right, let's see. Anything else that you guys need to know? So yeah, you guys know about selecting your character. If you lose your character, you just hit tab and it'll select your character in center. So you can scroll and then hit tab and go. If you see door icons, you can click on them to open them if you're close enough. If you're too far away, it won't work. Doors can be locked. You'll get a message and a noise if it's locked. I also have maps where you have stairs and stuff that will take you to different maps. Those will look like icons, and you can click on them to do that as well. And let's see. So yeah, I think that covers most of the main stuff. There'll be some stuff about combat. Oh yeah, so if you right-click on a token, you can target them. So you might need to double right-click. Let's see how that works for one of these guys.
Yeah, 2 right clicks.
Yeah, double right-click. Another option is to click on it and hit T, and that'll select and unselect.
If you hold down shift, you can target multiple enemies that way.
So during combat, this is the way you guys will specify, oh, I'm shooting my fireball or, my firebolt at that guy instead of saying a number or what have you. The other thing to keep in mind is that you can hover over tokens to get their names. And if I've set it up, you can also see the health bars that way. They won't be there all the time. To keep stuff out of the way. Let's see, anything else I can think of. See if anybody here can find the temple that actually has a pool of water in it. Just out of curiosity, just run around and see if you guys can find the temple with the pool of water. And while you guys are doing that, anybody have any questions?
How do I move the camera to follow my character, or just like move it around in general? I found out how to
So you
move
can
the.
hold the right mouse button and move your mouse around. You can also hit Tab to have it center on your character.
So I'm on my laptop. Oh, okay. My laptop does have a right mouse button. It's just confusing. Gotcha.
Yeah, so Tab might be the easiest way for you.
Yeah.
You'll notice that most of these interiors are not decorated. This was just a test map, but there is one that is decorated that has a pool of water in it. So Natalie or any Shane or anybody else, you have any questions?
I think I did have a question, but I forgot, so it'll come back to me. Oh, there's the pool of water.
I'm not gonna lie.
Congratulations. You guys win. I'm not sure what you win, but you win.
I've been playing with the dice the whole time, so I've kind of just literally blocked out probably half the things that I'm just like, no, we have aesthetics to
Wait, what is my... What the hell?
That's the important stuff. Like a true bard. I have
Fair
to
enough.
look pretty.
Yeah. Everybody could feel free to play with the dice and get some dice you like. Like I said, hopefully everybody's dice are a little different, so we can tell each other apart.
You guys like my
Why are
reptile
some of these
themed
dice
dice?
so ugly?
Yeah.
Mine's reptile themed.
I like mine. I like the... whatever this
Oh,
is.
it's purple. It's a shimmer. It shines.
And I see some of you found some of you found the dice tray stuff. Ooh, who's got the yellow?
Me.
Tyler does.
I'm sorry, Tyler. Same as my color.
Nice. It looks nice.
Y'all ready for this roll?
All right. How
Why
are
are
people
y'all
throwing
throwing
900
so
dice?
many?
Yeah, how are people throwing
Crap off my
900 dice?
screen. I'm trying to pick
Just
a die.
just typing in the /R command.
I might break it, and I'm sorry if I break it, but I'm trying this. Oh, never mind.
Oh, it looks like you already broke it.
It won't
So
let me.
if dice are stuck on your screen, just hit F5 on your keyboard, and it should refresh the browser, and that should fix it.
The red dice are not mine, so that wasn't me breaking it. I blame Shane for it.
Oh, they didn't stick on my screen, so...
Oh no.
Why are you throwing so many?
How are you
Oh my
throwing
God.
9,000 dice?
You just type it. You just type it.
Well, type one.
Okay, fine. I thought it'd be funny.
Yeah, well, I'm
So
trying to see my sparkly dice. I don't even see yours ever again.
Ooh, I like these.
Anyway, there is a limit to how many it'll show. So even if you roll 9,000, I think it'll only show 20 or something like that.
I thought so. I wanted to test it.
Just so you know, the dice are just a fun visual. They have nothing to do with the roll. The roll is made first, and then the dice are simulated and then adjusted to land on those on that. Well, while we're all here, I guess since you guys are playing around with things, I can show you a little bit of the way combat works. So I'll won't do much, but I'll just throw in some things. So you'll notice that I threw in some critters and I entered combat in here. So the way you enter combat is if you right click on your own token, you should see a sword and shield. If you click on that, you'll enter in the combat roster. And once you're...
Wait. Where is that?
So right click on your token, and then there should be
Oh, gotcha.
two sword. There you go. And then once you're in there, the way you roll initiative is by clicking on the D20, and you'll notice it auto sorts the order as you enter. So yeah, I guess just everybody roll initiative, and I'll kind of start combat, and you can kind of get a feel for how that looks.
Okay.
Wait.
Yeah, I'm having a problem here.
Where's the dice that I'm supposed to be rolling?
If you
Like I
click on
clicked the sword,
the
Oh
combat
yeah,
encounters.
if you the second tab where it says the two swords that are crossing each other.
oh, that's what you meant by that. Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
and then
Yeah.
there should
Okay.
be
Now,
a D20. There you go.
all right. I've got the swords, but I don't see my.
That's because you got to right click on your token, and then on the bottom right corner there should be like two swords and a shield. You click on that, and it'll add you to combat.
Okay.
There you go. You're there now. Cool. Is that everybody? 1, 2, 3, 4. Who are we missing? Oh, we're missing the bard, of course.
The bard is busy trying
Okay,
to
so
adapt
don't worry about the
dice.
bard. You can continue. I'll go ahead and begin combat just so everybody sees what it looks like. So you'll notice what happened is that it popped it out. You can move the combat tracker around, and it switched to the chat window. And then so Brosnan, you can see how there's a circle around your character, and then you can also see that on your tracker, you should be able to click a big button at the bottom to end your turn when you're done. And then, yeah, Dave, you'll see the same thing. You can move, you can end your turn, and you'll notice that it'll pop up and tell you it's your turn. And I don't have to ask you when your turn's over anymore. You can just hit the button.
Well, this is no fair. I don't have anything to attack with. Guess I could use my claws.
Yeah, you are a level 0 character still.
Well, I'm actually level 2, one at least.
Oh, did you
Level 2, yeah.
did you drag over the fighter?
Yeah, I figured that stuff out. Oh, whatever. I'll pretend like I'll pull out the rocket launcher, blow them both up, and my turn.
Okay.
If they're dead.
And so
That's
Shane,
up.
you should see the pop up now, and it's centered on you as well. And you can see the ring, and you can. So one thing you can do, Shane, so you can go ahead and demonstrate this, is you can decide, oh, move up to one of the goatlings, and then you can say you're going to melee attack them, right? But instead of telling me, oh, it's goatling 2, you can double right click on it to target it. So go ahead and try that. And so
Aha.
I can see what you've targeted, and your target should automatically get cleared once you end your turn, so you don't have to worry about clearing it. And then so you can attack. You would normally click on your character sheet, but we'll do that next session. Go ahead and end your turn when you're ready. And then yeah, you can see it didn't unselect it for some reason, so I'll have to look at that. That's fine. All right, so then yeah, then the goatling runs up and attacks. And we'll go ahead and end combat there. You guys got the idea.
I will be right back.
Sure.
Well, the not unselecting is probably by design. It probably helps people see who's targeting what. It can also help calling things out for other people.
Yeah, I thought I had actually selected clear target, so people didn't have to remember, but for some reason it didn't look like that stuck, which is fine. Okay. So, Natalie, how are you doing messing with the dice? Finding anything you like?
Size and artist dissatisfaction. I found a couple ones that I do like. But I don't know, it's like it looks good this way, and then I try to add one thing and it's just like now it looks like garbage. I hate it.
Sounds like me when I was trying to figure out my dice.
Fair enough.
Exactly.
I got to cheat and figure all that stuff out a couple weeks ago or something like that.
Ooh.
No, we don't like those colors. Why is it that pink? Why? Gross. What is this? Barbie dollhouse? Get out of here.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. Anyway,
Gross.
I will delete the enemies.
Well, this is the Malibu beach right here, just like Barbie wanted.
Disgusting. Pink should have more than just pastel and hot pink, obnoxious hot Ink.
Well, you should be able to go to pretty much any color you want, right?
What is this?
Yeah, well, part of it is that you got the lighting and you got the patterns, and you got multiple things that are all kind of competing.
Yeah, yeah, that's another thing. I'm dealing with not only material but also seams as well, and it'll look good on one thing, but then I'll change one other thing or put in something else, and it'll immediately look like garbage. Well, that destroyed all of the good things about this look. Never mind.
Fair enough. Okay, so you guys kind of got a little preview of combat stuff. Obviously, you'll see more of that once we actually start playing. We'll finish next session once I have all of your all the information I need. I'll add everything. One thing you should do is if you select your character sheet and you go to biography, there's 3 questions that in there that are listed. Class, subclass, race, all that. You should be able to edit that and put in the answers. That way, I can look at your characters and I know what to add. So everybody should be able to answer those 3 questions. And then below that, on your character sheet under biography, you'll see include the following by session 1. So the 3 to 4 magic items, the concept for your pre-god background, what kind of god were you, and anything you need to answer if you're a cleric, paladin, or warlock. Which I don't think I heard anybody wanting to do that, so maybe that doesn't matter. So anyway, go ahead and answer those by next session if you can. So everybody see that?
Yeah.
So the priority is to answer the questions for session 0 because I need those to prep for next session. Then once you have those, fill in the ones for session 1. The magic item section, the sooner I have that, the better because then I can start using it. But again, as long as it's done by next session, that's fine. Um, so there you go. So, I think I covered my entire agenda for session 0. So, is there anything I missed or any questions or concerns?
Is the water on the beach salt water or fresh water?
It's salt water.
Okay. I threw a message in our Discord. Is that about accurate so far? Just so we can keep track of each other, at least as far as character creation goes. So you know what so we're all on the same page.
That looks good for me.
Well, I would say the travelers and adventuring part's not really accurate.
Well, I wasn't sure what your description was. That's why there's a question mark.
It's kind of the opposite of traveling, more of the whole staying at home and keeping safe kind of thing. From all those filthy travelers and adventurers.
Mine looks good.
Oh, is alignment a big deal for us or not?
There is no alignment. I basically, if you see alignment somewhere, unless it's important for mechanically important, ignore it.
Yeah, like your front wheels on the car kind of thing. Alignment's important there.
The reason is that I always found good, evil, all that kind of stuff to be a bit too subjective for the D&D kind of alignment setup, and focusing too heavily on it just leads to some really wacky results. So I'd rather characters be able to play with more nuance. Now that said, paladins have ideals. If you're a cleric or whatever, you have a god that believes in certain things. So you can have sets of ideals that if you break those ideals, there are consequences. There are real consequences in the world. But I think that's different than just blanket alignment. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, you can feel free to put something there if you want, if it helps you role play, but it isn't required. Okay. So yeah, make sure that when you're answering those questions in your on your sheet, that you're specific about your class, subclass, your race. Your if they come from a specific source material that I might not know about, add that. Anything else in there that I might need to add to Foundry. Like if you have a Strixhaven background, for example, make sure to call that out so that I know to add that. If you have a feat that is unusual, or what have you, or go ahead and call it out. In fact, if you can figure out what feat you want to use, have your fourth level feat. If you choose to pick one, you can just go ahead and put it regardless. That way, I can just make sure it's there. So yeah, make sure to call anything out that's not SRD material, so I can add it.
I want to make note that I want my character to be very support focused, so I might not be the classic like blaster mage, but just so you guys can like.
Well, that's fine, but I do think you do have to be Gizzard the Wizard Lizard.
Oh, of course, I'm not a wizard, but I'm going
Well,
to
that's
act
okay. It's
like
a
I am a
title.
wizard. Yeah, exactly. I'm doing all that. Don't worry.
All right.
And
That's the
I'm
important
going
part.
to insist I'm called a wizard, but I'm not one. But I am.
No problem with that. So, Brazen, as far as the specifics, as far as I'm concerned, are you able to go to your character sheet, go to biography, and see that list of questions?
Yeah, I
So
was
yeah,
answering that.
so
I'm
as far
looking
as
at
I'm
the feast now.
concerned, as long as you can answer those questions and provide the official sources for anything where it's in question, then just go ahead and do that. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, beyond that, it's up to you.
Why is Thunderclap not addable?
Because you'll notice that some of the spells look like buttons that you can drag and drop, and others aren't. The ones that are just written are SRD only, or not in the SRD, and I have to add them. The fact that they're written means I do plan on adding them, but it hasn't been done yet.
Okay.
So next session, I plan on having all those in there, along with any feats or anything you guys need, that, based on your answers on your character sheet, and then you'll be able to finish that off then.
Okay.
For like the races and stuff, where are you seeing any of that?
What about the races?
Oh, I just found the biography part of my sheet, and it was I was trying to figure out how to put backgrounds and races and stuff in. Do I drag and drop from a menu like Grin said, or
Oh
if
no.
so, where
So
is that?
basically, what you what you can do to answer those questions is you can just click the edit button, which is in the upper right corner, and just type it out, because it won't exist in the Goliath, for example, doesn't exist in Foundry yet, so you can't drag and drop that yet. So answering those questions allows me to add those things into Foundry for everybody, so that next session you'll be able to drag them and drop them.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Are you able to find the edit button?
Um.
If you mouse over the actual text where the questions are, you should see the button appear in the upper right corner just below the word biography.
Oh, okay. There we go.
Yeah. So just go ahead. You can just edit and type in your answers right in there, and I'll make sure all that stuff's set up for the next session.
When you're ready to save that, it's the second button to the right. It's going to be right below, almost directly below the word biography. And when you mouse over, it'll say save and close editor.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah, this is all part because Wizards of the Coast has stopped making deals with these VTTs after Roll20 and whatnot, probably because they're going to make their own, and so they have to legally only use the SRD material, and I don't want to add manually all the possible materials. So part of this is figuring out what I need to add, which is part of going through and you guys figuring out your characters. And as you level up, there'll be more things like that, but that's okay. It only happens, every once in a while. It's not it's not like every session, and we can deal with those as we get there. And when you guys are getting ready to level up, it's like, okay, well, I'm going to need this feat that's not in there or whatever.
Right.
All right, so yeah, my agenda is complete. So now it's all up to you guys. You guys can work on your characters as much as you can. Make sure you answer those questions, and you guys, we can stay on until you guys are, all ready to call it a session. Normally we go for 4 hours, but being a session zero, it's kind of expected that this will be short. Next session will be full length because after we're done with the characters, we're going to go right into the campaign. So we'll go for the full 4 hours then.
Okay.
Sweet.
Who's all gonna be magic people?
I will be a match
I
person.
Okay, so we've got Brosnan and Tyler, who are a sorcerer and a wizard.
Okay.
And
Um,
Joel's a definite don't know.
are y'all already looking at your spell lists? Because I feel like we
Oh,
need to figure out who's gonna be more healy person, who's gonna be more damage person, who's gonna be more support.
I'm gonna be more buff slash debuff slash CC than anything, I think.
all right, so you're going to be a support sorcerer.
Yes.
Okay.
So one thing you guys can do to help each other out is like Brosnan could type in support sorcerer in chat, and then you guys can each of you could kind of put down answer the question so it's a little bit clearer.
Okay. I can be a healing bard.
That sounds good.
Yeah. I've got a few just utilitarian things like tiny hut, sending.
Okay. I am most likely going to be the damage dealer.
Okay. I do have a couple of just fun ones like everyone loves a good old heat metal.
Oh yeah, that's a good
Yeah,
one.
I love that spell.
Invisibility is always fun for shenanigans.
True. I will have to research what spells I'm getting. I've never played a sorcerer, so I don't really know a lot about their
Yeah, and
spells.
Oh
unfortunately,
yeah, you're gonna have.
the sorcerer spell list hasn't been done yet. So yeah, but all the spell list should be complete by next session.
Yeah, it's fine.
Oh, this cantrip list is sad.
Oh, you're talking about the bard cantrips?
Yes, I want my thunderclap, and it's not available.
Wait a second.
Probably will be.
It will be, but still, the fact I can't just bloop it over there.
That's fine.
Where are you seeing that spell list? I mean,
Under general, in you open up the book, and you'll see a blue folder called general, and at the bottom is a spell list. So far, I filled in the bard, cleric, and the druid. I haven't gone beyond that yet because I kind of wanted to see who was going to be here first, who's going to be what, because it takes a while. And what she's complaining about is Thunderclap is on there. It's just that it's not in the SRD, so she can't drag and drop it yet. So she's gonna have to wait till next week to do that.
Yeah.
Okay, I see. That's where we're dragging and dropping. Yeah, I was confused when you kept asking about that because it's like I don't see how to do that.
Yeah,
Okay.
so it's in the create character document. and there's even a link from there. But the thing is, since not all the spells are there yet, you don't have to worry about it until next week. But feel free to go on D&D Beyond or the list here if your list is done so far, and get an idea of what you want to do.
Hmm. Hmm. Why is there infinity signs on cantrips?
Because you don't have to burn spell slots on them.
True.
Kind of funny that
Oh
they
yeah, the
bother to
spell
put a
book, yeah,
symbol like that.
because normally they have like 0 out of 4, 0 out of 3, or whatever. It's just that yeah, it just means that there's no limit on your cantrips.
Okay, but how
Oh,
many cantrips can I know?
Oh well, that'll be in your
Oh, here, I can tell you
class.
that. I've got that up. Bard processing.
Because
Level 5 Bard will have 3 known cantrips,
so one thing
Okay.
you can
not
do.
including anything from your background.
So anything what you can do, if you go to your character sheet and click on features, you dragged Bard over, right? And one of the things that
Mhm.
came with it is spellcasting Bard. If you click on that, it'll actually tell you right there how many spells you know per level and all that. So it's the chart's actually built in.
Okay.
Do you see that?
Bard advancement, Bard college. I'm
It'll
just
be
looking.
where passive ability says spellcasting Bard.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. And then you might get extra cantrips for racials or from other sources, but that's just what you get from your bard spellcasting.
Okay. Oh,
Okay.
I don't know if it's going to help you, Gren, but do you have a D&D Beyond free account?
I do.
All right. I'm going to send you a thing for my D&D Beyond campaign, which is really nothing. It just gives you access, but it will give you access to all the books and everything that I've already bought, so you can see all the different everything right there. Unless you've got a bigger library, I don't know how that works with you. Campaigns.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, because I was just like, this thing isn't limiting me, and that's concerning. I don't think I have all these options I think I have.
All
What's
right.
not limiting you?
Oh,
Link.
just like adding stuff, and I'm like, I don't think I have that many. Maybe I do.
Oh yeah, it won't stop you from dragging and dropping a spell. So yeah, you have to go and look and see because you're going to start at 5th level, so you'll have 3 cantrips that you know. Um, so you have 3 cantrips in your spell book, so it looks like you're good to go.
And
Okay.
that's what I was trying to get at is if you had um, it's just an option, but if you have access to the Strict Haven book, that does have the possibility of giving you more cantrips if you were looking for that.
Yeah, and that's why I mentioned that if you have any backgrounds like Strixhaven, to make sure that you flag it on your in your biography, so I know to add them to Foundry. And if you do that, then you'll be able to click it, open it, kind of like you do the Bard spellcasting, and it'll have all the information you need right there.
But
Okay.
yeah,
Uh,
access to Strict Haven through D&D Beyond, just so you can see it, is the link that I just put into Discord.
uh,
So it looks like some of you have named your character Tyler, though. I don't think your character's name is going to be Tyler, right?
No, it's not, but I can go in here and here. Let me see if I can do this here.
oh my goodness. Where's my little thingy? There it is.
Okay, did that not change it? Oh, I still see Tyler.
How do I change my name on the left side? Like, where it says players, I changed my actual character's name. At least, yeah, I did. But it doesn't show up on the bottom left of my screen.
Oh,
If that makes sense.
that's interesting. Okay, let me see. Let me find your character.
For me, it shows that I changed it.
Okay, so what I see is you changed your name to Gizzard, right?
Yes.
Hmm.
All right, so let me go to your token here. Players, Gizzard. Come on, open. There you go. Prototype token, token name, update. And we can update it there as well. Okay, so your token should now say Gizzard. Does it for you?
My token does. What I'm saying is the bottom left side where it
Where
lists
it
the
says
players
players.
does not.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, that just popped up and changed for me after I changed the name on my character sheet.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to.
Should I try refreshing?
Yeah, try refreshing. I mean, that doesn't look like it did anything. That's a good question. I'll have to look at that because yeah, it's supposed to update automatically.
Yeah.
But I know what your character wants to be called, so I can look at that independently.
Yeah, should be fine.
Cool. So, Shane, then does that leave you as being the only one who didn't name your character?
I'm deciding. I'll get there.
Yeah, no problem.
Wait, what's everyone's subclass again?
I'm an Echo Knight. And yeah, and I tried changing my name on the character sheet. Once I refreshed, then it took.
I refreshed.
Yeah, I was gonna say I noticed you changed to Brian.
I haven't decided on my subclass yet, but I'm thinking maybe wild magic.
That would be amazing. Yeah, there's a wild magic barbarian as well.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, so that what you're going to be? You're going to be a barbarian?
yeah, barbarian for sure. For class, I don't know about subclass yet, but I'm leaning towards wild magic.
Cool. And are you dragonborn or minotaur or something else?
Minotaur.
Some of
Oh,
the barbarian subclasses are pretty cool. One second.
Yeah, there's some cool ones.
one thing I should mention is you'll probably notice that you guys, most of you have default tokens, although two of you have custom. So you have a couple of choices there. Next session, what I'm going to do is have a map that's just nothing but tokens. So if you want to select from that, you're free to do so. You can also, if you want to make your own custom token art, or you want to find something online you like, you can provide it to me, and then by next session, and I can go ahead and upload it for you. So the other thing to keep in mind is you actually need two token images. You'll need your demigod token image, will be that's your cat person self or whatever, and then you'll need your human token image, and that's what when you change into a human, you only have one human form unless you have spells or whatever. But you have one human form, and so what does that look like? So you can keep that in mind.
I have a question.
Okay.
Um, in terms of for your human character, is it like you're trying to look just like a normal human to blend in,
Exactly.
or are we so like things like special features like smoky eyes or like something like that would be like probably just a dead giveaway, and
Yeah,
you wouldn't
so
want them.
that's the idea. Is you want the whole point of turning into a human is so that you can blend in with the humans. You can go in the cities. You can interact with civilization without being, without the fear or being outcast or
Right.
what have you.
Gotcha. Okay.
Your regular form can have smoky eyes and any other crazy visual effects, though.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
you are demigod, so you can customize the way you look. You can have lightning bolts on your animated lightning bolts on your chest or whatever. Um, you can customize your weapons and armor, and like I mentioned earlier. So kind of think about between now and the next session what the kind of visual for your demigod is. Um, but your human will be by comparison very plain.
Gotcha.
The main thing is any adjustments you make don't give you any mechanical benefits. So if you can't use glowing lightning on your chest as a light source, for example. It won't glow that much. Or you get the idea.
Yeah, they're just visual effects for
Yeah.
aesthetics.
Now, you might choose, magic items or powers or something to find out in the world where then you can use that to give you your mechanical benefit. So, you can grow your character beyond what your class can do. Like, for example, if you find the equivalent of a wand of fireballs, well, that you absorb that, and that means your character can now shoot fireballs out of their hand. It's just they're limited to however many charges the wand of fireballs would have had. So it becomes an innate ability. So you can think about you're going to grow your demigod in that way. And yeah, also while we're here, if you go to your sheet, you can using abilities is as simple as it was in Roll20. Like if you click on Strength, it'll tell you is that an ability check or a saving throw, and then you can go through. One thing is it asks you whether it's advantage or disadvantage, whether it's a critical hit or not, or whatever. So you don't accidentally leave that stuff on anymore. You just tell it what you're doing. Same thing with your skills. You just click on it and it'll roll.
Did you type a message as Joel?
I did.
I was questioning that
Here,
too.
I'll do it again. Yeah, hello, everyone. You'll notice that not only did it come out as Joel, but there's a little chat bubble text that came up over his head as well. And that works for you guys. So you guys, whenever you chat in there and your character's selected, a little chat bubble will come up above your character's head. And the reason
Yeah, I
that
don't see a
works is
chat
so the
bubble.
GM can talk as NPCs and stuff.
I don't see a chat bubble.
Where are you?
I'm looking at Cyclonin right now, and he typed in
It
what chat
only
bubble.
said it does it for a second. I'll do it again. Here goes.
Wow, yeah, I don't know
Oh,
how they
okay.
expect you to
Yeah,
read
that showed up
anything
for just
longer
a
than.
They
split
don't.
second.
It's just flavor. It's one of those.
Okay.
The
Okay.
message pops up. You see who said it because you see the chat bubble, and then you look over to the chat window to see what was said.
Gotcha, yeah.
There might be a way to make it last longer. I have to look at settings.
I noticed when we move our characters, they go in a straight line. Is there a way to make them curve?
If you do the shift thing or the control thing, whichever one it was, they'll
Oh.
follow the line.
So
Like
yeah, if you
according.
click on your character and you hold Control and then left shift drag, you'll see a ruler, and then you can left click to set waypoints. And then when you're holding Control the whole time, and when you're done, hit space and it'll follow that. You got to hold Control. There you go.
Ooh.
And
then left click to set a waypoint. Don't let go of Control. And then you got to hold Control the whole time. Left click to set a waypoint, and then move the mouse again. Left click to set a waypoint.
It's not left clicking to set a waypoint. I am left clicking.
Let me try again. Maybe I'm misremembering. Left click. Yeah, it works.
Maybe it's my keyboard because now I'm stuck. I can't turn it off. Oh, there we
go. Yeah, I'm gonna do that.
Okay, so left clicking isn't working for you?
It's not working for me.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
No.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure why. There might be another hotkey, or it might be reassignable.
Why won't you let me edit? Okay, here we go.
Let's see. Configure controls. Oh, actually, there's one other thing I forgot to mention. No, that's locked. Um, you probably all noticed that there's a little like looks like a hot bar you might see in like Diablo or World of Warcraft or whatever at the bottom of your screen. One thing you
Mm.
can do is you open up your character sheet and you have an ability in your character sheet, like say a weapon attack or a spell or something like that. You can drag it and drop it onto that hotbar, and then so that you have that ability even without your character sheet open.
I have a question.
What's that?
Okay, so my character, as a bard, my weapon is my song or words or whatever, but also I can have a physical weapon.
Yes, you can have
So
a
like,
what I imagine you'll have is you'll have some sort of divine weapon. Uh, your choice based on whatever weapon proficiency you have. You'll have some sort of divine armor. I suspect it'll probably be light, and then you'll probably have a divine instrument, which you'll use as your spell focus.
okay, I was
And that
about to be
instrument
like,
can be whatever makes sense, whatever instruments you have available.
okay,
And I think
because
that's all you'll have, other than clothes. Anyway, go ahead.
yeah, because technically bards have, if you want to think about it, um, two weapons, their instrument and also their actual whatever they're gonna hit someone or shoot someone with.
Yeah, but that's fine because your instrument serves as your spell focus, so it doesn't conflict with you having a physical weapon.
Okay.
So for the magic items we get, can they be any magic items, or are they limited to a specific like rarity or something?
No, you can pick whatever you want, but the things you have to keep in mind is number one, it may not be exactly what you asked for. It may be tweaked, or contextualized. You won't necessarily get everything on the list in the world. Obviously, there's only so many items, and I'm going to have to go through the whole list, and hopefully we have more items than there are things in the world. So there's that. And the other thing to keep in mind is it doesn't have to be an existing magic item. It could be like a weapon power or an armor power, like Thor's hammer, or what have you.
I see. There
But
is
yeah,
one
so
particular item that would very much fit. I was looking at. I was just looking at something like this. I thought that would be fun.
Rod of Wonder.
Oh. It's like another. It's like wild magic, but in an item.
Yep, that seems cool. Yeah, so go ahead and add it to your list. All right. So one thing I haven't seen it in a while. Brosnan, what? Go ahead and roll your dice. Let's see what you picked.
All right.
You can just roll whatever. Yeah, there you go. Cool. So you have your lizard dice. Very cool. Oh, go ahead.
Nothing. No, just confirming.
All right, Cyclonin, what kind of dice do you have? Go ahead and make a roll.
I think I've seen this already, but let's see.
Legit
Oh, what
Alrighty.
the?
shit go down.
Fair enough. All right, Darcy, what kind of dice do you have? Did you wind up picking?
I did pick. I settled because I was just like, I can't have exactly what I want close enough.
Fair enough. Let's see it.
Uh,
So there's a dice tray at the bottom, so you can just click on what dice you want to roll and hit roll, like that.
dice tray.
Yeah, so at the very bottom on the right side, you'll see like the different size dice. You can just click on those, and once you get the dice you want to roll, just hit roll.
Okay. Did it?
You can also type in like /R and manually type in the rolls like Roll20. Okay, so it looks like you went for a sort of white kind of dice as well. More diamond-y, faceted, it looks like.
Yeah. It has kind of like a sheen to it.
Cool. All right,
Sweet.
Shane, what did you choose? Looks like a red color. That's cool. And then finally, Mr. Judge.
AFK, just a moment.
Okay, no problem. That's cool. Well, like I said, you guys are you're free to stay, free to go for a while. I think we've gone through everything.
Cool. Well,
Uh, okay, so for personality traits, do we have to go by the little default chart crap, or can we actually write stuff?
You can write stuff. It's fine to customize your personality. As far as bonds and all of that stuff, if you find it helps you with role play, go ahead and fill it in. If it doesn't help you and it's just a waste of time, don't bother. Put in as much as you or as little as you want there. Um, I tend to be a little lighter on the backstories to kind of give the character more space to grow in the campaign, but that's up to you guys.
Okay. As appearance, do we need to have like a little sentence for our human form as well?
I would say so, yeah.
Okay.
And
Okay, I'm
next
gonna.
week we'll figure out the tokens. Like I said, you can feel free to search for your own art if you have your own ideas. If not, I'll have some art you can pick from. Go ahead, Tyler. Oh, that's your dice? Cool.
Yeah.
Looks good.
sweet. Also, Tyler, what subclass of wizard are you again?
Blade Singer?
Sorry?
Blade Singer?
Okay. Ooh, I missed that.
And Bronson, you're a wild magic sorcerer?
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh, dadgummit, where'd it go?
Alrighty.
No. Oh.
Ooh, who's are those? Those are cool.
Hello.
Also, what's pretty cool is the barbarian and sorcerer wild magic tables are apparently different tables.
Neat.
They're unique, which is kind of interesting.
Yep, I'll definitely have to add those tables, so that's cool. Wild magic might exist in the SRD, but I don't think the barbarian wild magic does.
I'm not sure.
Oh, yeah. No, it doesn't exist in the SRD, but exists in the other. Hold on. I'll be able to tell you the exact source.
Okay. But yeah, like I said, not a problem. All the officially published material is available except for the limits already mentioned, the automata and the artificer.
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, it looks like we have a wild magic sorcerer, an echo knight, a satyr bard, probably lore,
Yeah.
barbarian. Oh, good.
Yeah, it's a bird of war. Thought I already put that on there. Did not take.
Okay. Let's see. A barbarian wild magic probably, and then a blade singer, and then whatever Joel picks when I message him. Because yeah, what my plan is to mention to Joel the choices you guys have made, and then have him make his choices before next session as well, so that he can make his character and I can add everything. And then yeah, so next session you guys will finish off your characters. You'll pick tokens, and I'll have a script so that you guys can switch between your demigod and human form, and then we'll get started.
I am going to have to type in weapon and equipment.
Weapon proficiency, is that what you said?
No, the actual weapon I'm choosing and equipment, I am going to have to physically type that in.
No, they should exist. If you click on, it looks like a closed book on the right side, and you scroll down to items, at items SRD, you should be able to search that for your weapon, and then we can edit it to make it divine. Give it the +1 and whatnot. If you don't find it there, let me know what it is, and I'll add one. So rather than you typing it in, it's probably better to add a new entry for it, so that other people can use it as well.
Okay.
What weapon, out of curiosity?
It's. I'm just trying to. I'm trying to freaking learn this website and how to use all its little functions and whatever, because I literally only used this thing once, very briefly, and I did not retain any of that information.
Are you talking about D&D Beyond, or are you talking about Foundry?
Foundry. I know most of the basic things for D&D Beyond.
Okay.
The Foundry, I looked at it for like 30 minutes once for a campaign and was just like, I don't think so.
Okay.
I was like, no, I don't want to. No, I know I know Roll20, and I don't want to sit here and piddle for an hour and a half to try to figure out one thing and get angry because I don't know what tab it's under.
Fair enough. So, just for fun, I made it nighttime and gave somebody a torch. Anyway, so if you click on the closed book and you click on items, and like if you were looking for a battle axe, you'll see that in there. You can search for it. So if you wanted like a long sword, you can find that, and then you'll see an icon and you can drag it over.
I'm still looking for a closed book. I don't see a closed book.
It's
I see an open book.
It's next to the 2 gears. It's
Okay.
yeah, okay. And then if you scroll down there, you'll see backgrounds, class features, classes, feats, and then items. Items is what you want, so click on that.
All right, thank you. I was just like, I do not see a closed book icon.
Sorry, that's what it's supposed to be, but maybe I think it's what it's supposed to be. Maybe not. I don't know.
It looks like a ball with a line below it.
It's the thing between the musical note and the gears.
Yeah, I found it. It's just I was like, I don't see a book shaped thing. I just see an open book, a briefcase, a bunch of other stuff. No closed book.
To me, it looks like a closed book, but maybe not to anybody else. One thing you can do is you can hover over it, and it'll say Compendium Packs if you hover over it, and then so Compendium would be what you're looking for.
So our weapons are going and all that are going to be +1 because they're magical.
Yeah. So basically, it'll be your divine weapon. So you'll drag and drop it over, and then you can edit it and make it +1 and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have to pick a specific weapon and then edit it for +1?
Yes. So you might find a +1 version already. If you do, you can just drag that along. If you don't, you can add it.
If I found a +2 version of the thing I want, can I just reduce it to +1?
Yeah.
Okay.
The
Hooray!
main thing is it can't already have additional magical effects, so it's just a basic. Your stuff has lost most of its power, so it's just a basic set of armor or a weapon, and then you're making it magical and adding a +1.
Hmm.
And it looks like Cyclonin already figured out how to do the attack, so that's cool. One thing you can do is for like things will show up in the chat with the full text. If you click on it, it will shrink that text away, so you just see the icon. So if you want to remove some of the clutter from your chat.
Is there a way to add weapon proficiencies?
Yes. So go to your character sheet. And then on the attributes tab on the right side, you'll see a list where it says size, senses, languages, weapon proficiencies is in there. And at the very right side, you can see a button that you can click to edit. And if you do that, you'll see a bunch of checkboxes.
Okay.
So when adding everything we need to add, do we have to just do all of that by hand?
Uh,
Or can we drag and drop it?
some of it's drag and drop. It depends on what it is. Like one of the things you'll be adding once it's added in there is your class and your subclass. And then when you do that, you're going to change the level to 5, and it'll actually take you through the leveling process. And what that'll do is that'll add some things on there, but other things you're going to have to do manually. It goes through it in that character creation. We'll go.
Gotcha.
I'll make sure to go through step by step with everybody next session. Once we have all the pieces,
Sounds good.
What about the possibility of multiclassing?
you can do that. So basically, the way that works is you'll drag each class over, and then you'll tell it how many levels in that class you have. So you might have 3 in one and 2 in the other, and it'll go through that level up process, and it should work fine with multiple classes.
Okay.
The one thing to keep in mind though, is that since you start at level 5, at level 4 you get an ability improvement or feat. If you multi-class, depending on how many levels you do it, you might not get that until later.
Yeah.
Can I wield more than one musical instrument?
Not at the same time, I think, but you can certainly own one eventually. But you only start with one.
Okay, that's basically what I was asking. Like, if I could start with, can I start with more than one?
Yeah, so no, so everybody starts with the bare minimum, and that's intentional. You're in a new world. You just basically have your divine equipment and clothes. You don't even have all your divine equipment. You might not have that extra hammer or that extra instrument, and so finding that in the world is going to be part of the game.
Okay.
And that means all other equipment gets dropped, all money gets dropped. So yeah, you'll literally starting with almost nothing.
Ah, we are peasants.
Well, you dropped in a new world. Think of it as like an Iseki or something, where you're starting on a brand new world with nothing.
The most elite peasants ever.
Peasants with an edge.
Now, one thing to keep in mind is that your divine equipment, I mentioned this earlier, but your divine equipment, if you die, it goes with you. Anything else you gain in the world that you haven't made divine, just regular equipment, stays behind. Backpacks, herbs, paid for magical components, all that stuff. So if that happens, you're gonna hopefully have your other party members to kind of help out, grab your stuff. But if it doesn't, that's something to consider. And the other
Just
benefit of
run
the
back to our corpses.
The other divine useful use for the divine equipment is if it gets taken away from you, you drop it down a cliff, what have you. In 24 hours, it'll pop back to your side. So and also it'll grow in power with you, dude. It'll become a +2, +3, and you can go and find things out in the world to power it up and that kind of thing. Alrighty, Shane, do you want a torch or a candle?
Torch.
One thing that's neat, I don't know if everybody can see it, but on the left side above the players, does everybody see like a time like 4 a.m. with like a moon and all that?
Where is this? Oh yeah, I
Lower
see
left
it.
corner
Yeah.
above the
Yep.
player list.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
this is actually
Yes.
the time in game, and as you can see, as I adjust the time, it actually changes the brightness on the map. So what I'll do is this will be a chunky update. Like, oh, okay, 10 minutes has passed. I'll update 10 minutes. Okay, 4 hours has passed. I'll update 4 hours or whatever. But this is so you can kind of see it's your characters like looking in the sky or whatever, seeing where the moon and sun are, and you can kind of tell what time it is. However, if you go into a cave or something, then that'll disappear because you can't tell anymore. That should be interesting.
Do we need to add our clothes to our list? Like,
Yeah, you should probably add clothing and maybe have some idea of what what does your clothing look like.
since my person is a performer, would costume clothes be fine
Yeah.
as my clothing?
Yep. Absolutely fine. Tyler, it looks like you figured out your left click at least. Once you do the last waypoint, you can hit space to move your character along it.
I'm
Okay.
gonna assume that's gonna go under equipment.
Yeah, it probably should. In fact, clothes is probably listed in there. If not, you can just add it.
There's like clothes, costume
Yeah,
clothes,
there's
travel
common clothes,
clothes.
traveler's clothes, fine clothes, or costume clothes. Yeah, just drag whatever's of those is most appropriate, and then you can edit it to type in whatever you want as far as what they look like. And when you drag and drop, it should just automatically put it in the right spot.
Okay. Yep.
And yeah, I know Foundry will be a learning experience for everyone, and after playing Roll20 for so long, but from what I can see, the overall performance, especially on bigger maps, is better, and it has various advantages when it comes to lighting and walling and scripting and various other things. So yeah, I think everybody will like it once you get used to it, but obviously it'll be a learning curve.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Ooh.
All right. Is there any other questions? Are everybody working on your character, or are you going to wait until next week?
I'm doing a
I'm
bit
gonna
right
work
now.
on
I'm trying to work on it, but I'm having a hard time finding all my stuff here.
You're having a hard time. What's the issue?
Um, well, I've got race and background and alignment, and all. I can find all that stuff, but I don't see where I'm supposed to type in um, fighter or wizard or blade singer or whatever.
Oh, that's because you're not supposed to type that in. If you open up, and you might have to wait on some of this, but if you open up the character creator, the create character thing, it's on the open book under general. Create characters, second one down. And then if you click on choose a class, if you scroll down, you can see the classes and subclasses that exist in the SRD. Um, you'll see that wizard is in there, but only school of evocation. So you can't actually enter your subclass yet. But you
Oh,
can
okay.
at least do your wizard. And the way you would do that is you open up your character sheet, you grab wizard from that list, you drag and drop it onto your sheet, and then follow the instructions.
Okay. Yeah, I was seriously debating on whether or not to take 2 levels of fighter and then go wizard after that. But
Okay. Is that in that case you would go up to fighter and drag that over, and then you'll start at level 1, and then you can actually use the drop down to change that to whatever level you want. Let's say you want 2 levels of fighter, just put 2, and then follow the instructions. It'll level you up as far as hit points and everything, and then drag over your wizard, do 3, follow those instructions, and then you should be squared away in terms of class.
okay.
You won't have your subclass yet, but you will do that next week. I'm assuming but yeah, and you can't do race yet, so yeah, you won't have all of that stuff yet. But when you
All
do,
right.
it'll be similar. You're going to drag your race over, and whatever features it has will get added and that kind of stuff.
Okay. So I should fill all that out in my biography here.
Yeah.
That way you've got it all set.
And then make sure on your biography to add, if you're going to add a background from Strixhaven, make sure to put that in there so I can add it, so you can drag and drop it next
Alrighty.
time. Anybody else having issues?
No.
Looks like a certain cat loves swimming despite wearing plate armor.
Oh, it's all blue. Well, the water's getting old here. I might have to give up being in there shortly.
But yeah, as far as your divine weapon and divine armor, you can if a shield makes sense, you can add a shield. Um, any armor, basic armor type that makes sense, you can add. So if you want full plate, you can have full plate. The weapon, same thing. Yet if you have a proficiency for it and it makes sense for your character, you can add one weapon. In the rare case where 2 weapons make sense, this would be like 2 daggers if you have weapon fighting or that kind of thing. Then you can do that as well.
Where do we place, or where do we type in the type of god we were or whatever?
So one thing you can do is, even though I edited your biography, feel free before or after that to put in your own stuff. Because once all these questions are answered, I'm going to delete what I added, and then it'll just be your stuff. So feel free to just go ahead and put it in there.
Yeah, but where?
Here, I'll help. Oops, not Gizzard. You're not Gizzard. There you go. You should see a section now where it says put your stuff here. You can just hit edit and put it down there.
Okay, yeah. It's just like I see nothing but instructions. I don't.
Yeah, so the idea is those instructions are going to go away once we're all done, once we get started, and it'll just be your stuff.
Okay.
You could even delete those instructions as you're typing.
No, because we want to leave it so you can put in your class, subclass, race. You can answer all the questions. Once all the questions are answered and we start the next session, then you can delete it.
Yeah, but I mean, like in my case, if I felt like it, I didn't do this, but I've answered the questions for session 0. I could conceivably delete the questions. The answers are still there. fairly
Oh, I
self-evident.
see what you're saying. Yeah, sure.
Ew, gross. Why is it all subheading text? Gross. Get rid of that. I don't know what the source book is.
Which thing?
For a race. It's
There's two of them. You'll probably want to go with Mordenkainen Presents. Hold on, let me see the full name of it. So, because the
Monsters of the
Seder actually,
Multiverse.
yeah, Mordenkainen Presents Monsters of the Multiverse. Because the Seder originally appeared in as like Mystic Odysseys of Theros or something like that. But a lot of classes got reworked generally for the better. I'll have to double check the Seder just to be sure, but chances are it got some minor upgrades from its original source.
Oh, speaking of minor upgrades, with the race, on my attributes, do I type in my attribute bonuses for race, or do I have to wait for race to be added, then drag and drop it?
The drag and drop does not automatically add the attributes, so you can feel free to add them whenever you want. Just remember that you've already added them.
Okay.
And due to Tasha's rules, you aren't forced to use the same attribute bonuses that the base race had, because it's like a +2, +1. As long as they're assigned to different attributes, you can assign them wherever you want.
Okay. That's kind of what I was thinking. All right.
So yeah, feel free to add those whenever you want.
what was the better book? Was it
Mordenkainen's Presents Monsters the Multiverse. Hold on a second. I'm going to get you a. Here we go. I'm going to go ahead and paste this in Discord. If I eventually figure out what I'm doing. Um,
You,
all right. I just went ahead and posted a link. This'll take you to a page that shows you the both of the sources for the Seder.
Oh, hey, can you throw that up for the Goliath again? I was having a hard time finding it.
Yeah, give me a moment here. But yeah, like for instance, with the Mordenkainen's version, the RAM feature works better. It's a D6 plus your strength modifier instead of a D4 for the Mystic Odysseys of Theros book.
neat? And I don't type that stuff in, right? For
no, you don't.
my
Just in your biography, just put in your race and your source. Don't bother typing in the stats, because I'm actually gonna make an item for it in Foundry where you can drag and drop it.
okay.
When you're editing your biography here, You can't cut and paste?
You should be able to.
Okay.
I'll try it real
Highlight.
quick, but
You're gonna have to
And
use like the Control V, Control X kind of thing.
I have no idea what those keys are. I don't know.
All right, I
They're
just posted the
basically
black
cut and
page.
paste.
yeah, cut and
I
paste
just
works.
I just recently learned Control Z, and half the time I forget that one. All right, so
Well,
what's
Control
the
C
cut?
is copy, Control V is paste, and Control X is cut. Um, you could think of it as Xing it out for cutting, C for copy, and the V, if you remember in elementary school when they were doing the sentence structure and like, oh, here's a little symbol for inserting text into a report or something. That's basically the V.
Okay, I will try to remember that. All right.
They're all right next to that Z key too, so that's helpful.
Alright. I have finished everything I think I can do today,
Okay.
so I'm gonna head out, and I'll see you guys next week.
All right. See you then.
Yep.
Bye bye. Good night,
Good
guys.
night.
Thank you much,
Later.
Finn.
Later. We
Later.
don't need. Do we need pictures yet, or are we good for later?
So yeah, that's that. I mentioned that earlier. Next week we're gonna do. We're gonna set up the tokens. Any other pictures we can set up then as well. So if you have custom stuff you want to use, just send them my way and I'll set it up for you. If you want to choose from my selection, you can do that next week.
Um, is it fine if my human self is just literally me without my horns and goat legs?
If that's what you want, yeah, I have no problem with that.
Okay, because they're basically people that just have goat attributes.
Yep. And you don't have to use the token I have there. That was just something you said. You said something about being a satyr, and I'm like, oh, okay. Well, here's what do I have that looks kind of like a satyr? Okay, that's kind of close. I'll use that as a temporary token. So don't think of that as your final token unless you want it to be.
Except Brosnan's playing Gizzard the Human Lizard. Actually, I wonder if Shane picked a race. Forget.
Yeah, I did Minotaur.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you said it multiple times, and I thought, oh yeah, I was thinking about that one. And then I forgot totally. All right. Minotaur, go Satyr, Lizard Folk.
My name is gonna be about as basic as it gets. It's bowling Greek, Tavros.
Okay. Did you update your? Oh, you did. All right.
Yeah. And I did a bit of the writing up. I think I'm gonna call it here though. Probably throw a little bit more stuff in there throughout the week, and then do most of my actual abilities and whatnot. Day
Okay.
of.
Yep. No problem.
All right. I'll
All right.
see you guys later.
See ya.
Yep.
All right. Yeah. So it looks like as we have people dropping, is there anybody still working on character stuff?
I am.
Yes.
Okay. No problem. Take your time.
I think I've done most of what I can. I think the rest of it requires things being added.
Fair enough.
For the racial stuff, was that going to be a draggable where that automatically adds the features?
It'll add the features. It will not automatically add the stats. So that you'll have to do anyway.
That's fine. I was just curious because I noticed the census thing and I manually added dark vision, but then I realized, oh, maybe the racial package will do that automatically.
Oh, okay. It looks like you haven't updated your stats, so that's something to do at some point as well.
Yeah, well, I've got to decide where I'm going to put them.
Oh, okay. No problem.
Yeah, unfortunately, I can't say it was a bad roll, but I'm definitely kind of disappointed with my particular stat roll. I was actually hoping for something a bit swingier. But
you didn't get any really bad stats, though, so that was good.
That's actually almost kind of the problem. Because
You didn't have a dump stat for.
My lowest stat's a 10. It's dead average.
Hey,
So like,
well, at least I don't have any negatives. I technically have negatives.
Well, I forget which of these you went with. I'm guessing the 77.
top one,
Yeah.
there's absolutely no benefit to taking the
So
other
yeah, I
one.
mean you got a good stat and a couple of pretty good stats which you can pump up with your points. So I don't know. It seems pretty good to me.
Well, this is kind of following into that situation, that scenario I was talking about. The whole, if I only get one good stat, it might end up being in Constitution,
Okay.
because yeah, the thing is that if I were to say dump that 17 into Strength, I mean that would be good to start with. But then the catch is that that makes for, well, admittedly an above average Constitution, but
But you can do your +1 in your 17 to make it an 18, and then a +2 in your strength with the 16, so you'd have an 18 and a 16. That doesn't seem so bad.
yeah, I'll have to just kick it around a bit. Yeah, what I was kind of hoping for was kind of two pretty good stats and then one a bit below normal. Something with a bit of negative in it.
But yeah, to be honest, all of you guys got good rolls compared to at least compared to what they could have been. Because Tyler got a really good roll here.
I didn't want to say nothing. I was just very
Oh, the
happy.
best one of the group,
Grin
really.
got a
Yeah.
she has a negative yes, but she's got so many positives that it makes up for it.
Well,
Yeah.
not only that, you can
I'm a
take your
bard. I'm
plus
not
two.
gonna be strong.
Oh yeah,
Well, we
I
know
was
where
gonna
your
say you
dub
could
stat
take your
is then.
plus. You could take your plus two and put it into there to make it a 10 if you didn't like having a negative number.
I mean, I know satyrs get something already. Um, race-wise, I know they get charisma and they get something else. I want to say strength, so I want to, of course, turn my already high charisma into almost max. And
Um,
Yeah.
then
actually,
I
Well,
think I
the way
get
um,
it's
+1.
the
with
way
with
it's working now,
Mordecai's
you
monsters. Oh, go ahead.
yeah, you can, the stat bonuses aren't locked to any specific attributes anymore. So basically, no matter what, well, I guess it's different for a human, but for something like the satyr, it's like, yeah, you'd get a total of 3 points. So you could put two in one stat, one in another, or a one in each of three stats.
Yeah, you get to
I mean,
choose now. You're not locked into your ability score increases only charisma and
Yeah, that was
dexterity. You
changed
can
in
put them
Tasha's.
anywhere.
It's technically optional, but I decided to include it so people had more customization ability.
So yeah, you
Nice.
can take your 3+1s and put them anywhere you want as long as you don't put all three in the same one.
Yeah, that's the one thing that's not allowed.
Yeah, that makes sense. I feel like though it would make sense for her specifically as someone who devoted themselves to the artistic path to be more suited for um,
Yeah.
you know,
Charisma?
being charismatic
Yeah.
and being dexterous and nimble, but it's not like she's running around throwing axes at people. She was an artist.
Fair enough.
they're performers who throw axes. Don't go ruling that out. Some of them even manage to not need a steady string of hapless assistants.
Like her thing is she's a dexterous fighter. She's a nimble person. She's a dancer.
Yep, makes sense. Yeah, I think Shane has got the shortest end of the stick when it comes to stats.
What is he
Yeah.
again?
Say that again?
What are they?
Oh,
Some
I
sort
put
of
that up
wild
there.
magic barbarian or something.
Yeah, Shane's a Minotaur barbarian of wild magic. Did he say?
So yeah, I mean, it looks like his
Yeah.
strength is probably going to be a. Oh no, I guess he can pick this one. Okay, so he'll have a high strength, but everything else will be pretty low. Let's see, Bronson did really good, so he's got no problems. Yeah, I think even the worst, being Shane, is still not that bad.
Wait, can we already add the +2 and +1 or the plus
Yeah,
ones?
you can add those whenever you
Yeah.
want.
how do I enable that?
All you have to do
You just
is
type
just
it.
go and type it in. So go ahead and just adjust the two stats
Okay. Oop, there we go.
or three stats if you do the +1 through all of them.
No, I'm just gonna be very charismatic and be slightly not as um squishy or
I was gonna say
weak,
dexterous.
physically weak.
Okay.
Yeah, that fits better. Also, I don't know, I feel like it adds personality whenever you have a negative somewhere.
Yeah, it makes sense. As long as it's not
Change I
too
was
negative.
actually looking forward to.
Also, she can inspire herself if she really needs to make a jump or something.
I'm sorry, you just gave me a flashback. A bard was trying to inspire himself in a YouTube video, so he's just looking in a mirror and telling himself how beautiful he is.
You're beautiful, you're gorgeous, you can do anything you want to.
I'm inspired by my own reflection.
My own beauty inspires me to greatness.
Yeah.
I mean, narcissism.
I wonder if Brosnan would
Oh,
like a
what's the name of
palette
that?
shifted Sudaga icon.
Yeah, you'd have to ask him. I don't know.
What's the what was the name of that again, Dave? I want to say you meet in a tavern, but that's not it.
Talk about the first session of our episode of One for All.
Oh, yeah, there we are. One for All. Yeah, it was one of the episodes of One for All where he was trying to inspire himself.
Hold on, I'll get a link for that.
I think I did everything I'm supposed to.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we'll definitely finish everything out, because we'll have to figure out your proficiencies and things like armor proficiencies, weapons, and all that stuff. But we can do that once we get your race, so that we know what those are and all that kind of stuff.
Right, right.
So yeah, once you're ready to go, we can definitely call it a night once everybody's ready. Tyler, how you doing?
Oh, not too bad. Yeah, there's still so much for me to play around with yet. Once we get the Goliath, there's all the Blade Singer in there, because I'm still sort of debating. I mean,
Okay.
I'd kind of gotten the idea that if I took two classes of fighter, or two levels of fighter, I wouldn't have enough to get a subclass of fighter, but that doesn't matter because I would get action surge. And being a Blade Singer who can go fireball, action surge, fireball, in the same round.
Okay.
I'm trying to figure out if I want that as an ability and if it's worth two levels.
Yeah. So one thing you'll want to ask yourself is that worth the Blade Singer not getting to level 20? If it is,
Yeah.
then I don't see a problem with it.
Okay. Yeah, and that's exactly what I was reading here, because yeah, seeing what the high level abilities are for each of the classes.
Okay. All right. And yeah, Dave, I think you're
Oh,
all
good.
done, at least as far as you can be until everything's set up. So yeah, I think then I think what we'll do is I'll go ahead and call it. The um, Everything will be open here. Even when I log off, so you can continue to edit things. So hopefully you guys can get through your magic item list. You can get through all the session 0 stuff. Just follow answer the questions in your biography as best you can, and then hopefully character creation smooth next session, and we can get started. So I'll see everybody next week. Actually, before we go, how's everything been so far? I mean, as far as you have any technical issues or any issues with the way things are set up or anything like that?
Don't think so, besides just learning how to use the thing.
Right. Okay.
And like he said, he has to type some more stuff in, so not all of it's active right now. So
Yeah.
All right. All right. Yeah. In that case, I will see everybody next week.
okay,
Yep.
see you next week, Jeremy. And I will be sending you a Discord message letting you know when I've got all that stuff typed in there
Okay.
for
Fair enough.
you to.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and end the call, and thank you everybody for coming.
Wait,
Thank you for joining us, Natalie. I hope everybody has a good time.
I was going to say you're not actually ending the call; you're just getting off because Dave and I stay on and talk.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, good night.
Good night.
Bye.